Hey everyone, this is Nigel, and I wanted to put together.
I've decided to put together a great course that shows people exactly how to make teaching worthwhile, how to take their knowledge, how to take their education, how to take their skill set and package it in such a way that people pay you handsomely each and every month. Whether you're, and this is particularly for teachers, whether you're elementary, middle, or high school teacher, whether you teach at a college level, etc. I wanted to develop this program, and that's why I call it When Teaching Pays. One of the questions I'm asked consistently is, Nigel, how do you make money owning a tutoring center? I'm going to run through the numbers. I'm going to show you exactly how I do what I do, and I'm going to tell you how you can do it effortlessly. And at the end of this lesson, I'm going to give you a great gift. This is a great introductory lesson. I know it could work for almost anyone who's in the education sector or who is looking to actually develop for themselves an extra $5,000 to $10,000. Not telling you anything about online this. I'm not telling you anything about owning a big website. I can tell you I've done this entire thing without even having a web presence. No part of my business is predicated on me having a big website, doing Google ads, doing pay-per-click, doing Facebook and do none of that stuff. So the question is, how do you start and run a successful tutoring business? The first thing you have to establish is a plan. Who can I teach? What's my ideal demographic of students that I can target, and what can I teach them? The demographics that we have currently, you have the elementary market. You can teach middle schoolers, you can teach high schoolers, you can teach moms, you can teach single parents, people who wanted to do career changes, you can teach people who wanted to go into the military. There's the ASVAB. I teach that students wanting to go into the military, you write a test called the ASVAB. I work a 12 lesson program with them. And this is all around, my focus has been math, reading, writing, SAT prep. That's what I've built my centers around. Today I have two centers, and I started out regularly as a high school teacher when I graduated from college in 1992. I taught both in Guyana, where I'm from, and when I came to the US, I taught here in the US. I went to school here. I got 2 degrees here, and I continued teaching. After I left teaching, I went into healthcare. I work as a social worker because 2 of my degrees are in education. The other two are in psychology. And I enjoyed a career as a social worker and a psychiatric counselor. I left that all to set up my very first tutoring center because on the side I was doing SAT prep and I was making a lucrative amount of money without any of this stress. You might ask, well, what's the big reward in this? Let me show you some numbers. These are numbers that I produce on a monthly basis at any of my locations. This is just one location. I'm just giving you the figures for one situation. Let's say per se you were working with 47 students. Each child pays $45 an hour. We normally say $45 per lesson. Each lesson is 45 minutes to 60 minutes, which is 1 hour. If you increase it, you increase your income. So on a monthly basis, at one of my locations, we can do 47 students paying $357. That gives you a total of $16,779 per month. You take away your expenses, you have like about $3,800 in expenses. You're left with a profit of $12,979. All you're doing is doing something you love, teaching. I'm not talking to you about making $1 million. I'm not trying to sell you on leaving your job and going and set up a big, I'm telling you something you can do on a part-time basis. And this can be something you enjoy. And you might ask me, Nigel, what does your center look like? What do I have to do? I have two centers. One is in Burtonsville, Maryland. The other one is in Largo, Maryland. And they both look just like this. This is the waiting area where parents sit down to wait with their children. Sometimes children, it has a little kitchenette also here. Children would come in from school, they sit down here, grab a bite before they go into the room. Most time my parents sit in the front. This is the waiting area. And just behind that counter, I have a receptionist. This is one of my classrooms. At Burtonsville, I have 4 classrooms. At Largo, I have 6 classrooms. And I use both locations to make it work for me. I've learned the art of how to process, how to maximize the process. At Largo, we do both an after school robotics program as well as tutoring. And at each of the locations, we work with about a minimum of 45 to 48, 50 students per week. You might ask me how. There's a little method to the madness, but I'm showing you what you can do. I started out in a 10 by 10 place paying $350 as rent, and I grew that into a total of 25 students. And I work in a one-on-one space, so all of my students were coming on their schedule. At the time, I hired an assistant, and with myself and my assistant, we were doing 30 students per week. I moved location. I have a 1,000 square foot location here in Burtonsville. In Largo, I have a 1,200 square foot unit. And you might ask me, how was that possible? I do it under a brand called Math Connects Tutoring Center. That's my company. And I had to focus on the market. I work in all 3 of these markets here: reading, math, and test prep. But you can choose any one of these markets and do the same thing. If you wanted to do reading, you can do beginning reading. That's helping people with developing fluency in reading, helping people to develop phonetics, helping people to do what we call beginning sound. That primarily, your target client is a child ages K through 5. There are a lot of parents who want their kids to master reading, and they go out and buy all of these queer programs like Your Baby Can Read, and they buy Hooked on Phonics, etc., just to realize unless somebody literally helps the child through it, the child does not master the material. Middle schoolers are also struggling because more and more people are not reading. And middle school students, their reading is bad, so their writing is bad. And that would make all of their writing and reading related subjects bad. So they'll struggle in social studies, they'll struggle in science, they'll struggle in history, they'll struggle in world. All of these subjects they would get poor grades in because their reading is off. Your goal is to come in as a reading specialist and help them to master reading comprehension, what we call decoding content and interpreting and answering it. You can do the same also for mathematics. You can work and you can identify a niche, K through grade 5 or K through grade 8, working in what we call basic mathematics. Down the street from where I am in Olney, I saw someone recently starting working in home, just working K through 5. And they go out and they market and they get clients and they just work in that space. There are also middle schoolers who were looking for tutoring. Middle schoolers, you can teach them math, you can teach them science, you can teach them writing and reading. High schoolers, you can also work with them. That's everybody who's doing before algebra. So high school math is primarily algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, and calculus. Then there's some students who are on what we call advanced placement. One advanced placement with a good grade is equivalent to 1 college credit. So parents pay you a lot of money to have their child excel in APs. The average AP class costs about $65 to $75 per hour minimum. I'm giving you low end numbers because there are places that charge higher. There's a tutoring center up the road from where I am, about 5 miles. They charge $120 per hour for any AP program. Down the road from where I am, 1.5 miles, has a big established franchise. They charge $75 per hour. You could also work in the test prep market. Test prep is not only limited for academic testing. I've worked with people doing HESI. That's those who are wanting to go into some of the healthcare, whether it's a dental assistant or wanting to go into a nursing program, etc. They do the HESI exam. There's the ISEE exam for students wanting to go on to high school. There's the ASVAB for people wanting to go into the military. The high school placement test is the ISEE, the SSAT, and the HSPT. We teach all three over here at both of my locations. They're very lucrative markets. They're very short, dynamic, and intense programs. And it gives you a chance to easily charge $1,200 and get someone to raise their test score. Um, if you're working with a one-on-one, you can charge more than that. Admission tests to colleges, the SAT and the ACT, they're also great programs. I run a group class over here at Burtonsville. I do it on Sunday evenings from 5 to 9. The class consists of 8 students. Each student would pay $899. And I do this 4 to 5 times per year. There are 6 sittings of the SAT per year. And 8 students in each of those groups give you a tidy amount of money on a consistent basis. Now, this is just the tutoring market I focused on a minute ago. That's a $30 billion industry. There's not enough people to teach. There's not enough people to reach. And you can come into the market on any given day and build for yourself a name providing quality service. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's for people who have an understanding, who has an understanding of what they want to deliver, and who has an understanding of how to enhance and inspire someone to betterment. Then we have some new markets. These are hobby markets, after school market, paravocation, and lifestyle markets. In the hobby market, there are people who teach crocheting. I recently learned of a guy who teaches kids how to fish. He sets up a class and he runs classes in how to teach people to fish. There are golfing classes, there are drumming classes, there are dancing, guitar. All of these are hobbies and people pay you to learn these things. There's also the after school market. After school over, there are lots of parents who are still at work, family household, single parent family household. They'll pay you to have their child learn in the after school hour. At my Largo office, we have a great after school robotics program where we do digital arts, robotic, and graphic and mathematics. I kept math in it because I wanted to maintain good academic performance among the students. It's a very small program, catered to 12 students per day. Just 12 students. They come in there, we tutor them, we show them, and they come in from 3 to 6:30. That's it. 3 to 6:30. I use just one room to work with those kids. At Largo, we have 6 rooms. So whilst that's going on, it doesn't disturb anything in any of the other rooms. And it just gives an additional income stream in that location. Lifestyle. Think of it. There are people who can sew. You can teach people how to make clothing. There are people who can do. There's someone I recently saw who teaches people how to do African hair braiding. She charges $6.99 for a 6-week class, and she has 4 levels. Her beginning level is $6.99. If you want to learn the advanced things, it increases in price. So she has a 3-month program, and I think she has a 6-month program that costs somewhere like about $4,000. But it's just showing you how you can establish yourself with something that you already know. You can do, let's say you're great at baking desserts. You're from South and you wanted to show people how to bake the great peach cobbler that you guys did, or your great grandmother's apple pie recipe, or some other unique thing. I'm from the Caribbean. There's several things that people in the Caribbean can do that Americans don't have a clue how to do. How to make roti, how to make cassava bread, how to make casserie. You can teach so many things if you to just sit down and look at what you know. The challenge is, would people be interested in learning it? That the truth is, they would. They buy these things every day. You go to a store, you will see back home there's something we call rice porridge. Over here, I saw it on sale at Giant. You could teach people how to do that, how to make healthy desserts. You could do a 6 week class showing people different kinds of desserts. You could make eclair, you could make cupcakes, you could make pies, you could make casseroles and some of these other delicacies. You can even show people how to make drop candy. I'm familiar with people who make these things. They make them, it's a part of their family heritage. They make fudge, they make Slurpee, and they know all of these great recipes, but only they know it, and they're not monetizing it. And you wanted to know how to make an extra $5,000 to $10,000 because I know an extra $5,000 to $10,000 can significantly impact your life. It has done that for me. Right now, I'm preparing to go into my third market with my tutoring business, and I have significantly understood that doing this can shift who I am and how I can impact on the community. I've sponsored programs at the local schools. I've sponsored Veterans Breakfast. I've sponsored Grandparents Day. I've sponsored the program over at Laurel High School, over at Banneker Middle School, and I'm always looking at ways to engage with the community. Why? Because those are the people who will help you to get to the market. You sponsor them, you partner with them, they promote you. It's that easy. Whether you want to do a parenting workshop showing people how to be better parents, how to get your child to listen to you. You might be great at some unique thing. You're an archer. You shoot with the bow and arrow, and you wanted to show people how to increase your accuracy. That requires a lot of eye-hand coordination. There are a lot of parents who would pay for their child to learn that. Ask yourself the question: if I were to do it one day a week, and I were to work with 10 kids, and each of those kids pay me 300 or 250 a month, that's an extra $2,500 per month. What can you do with that extra $2,500 per month? Knowing the fact all it took you, it's 3 hours on one day. And you do it 4 times a month, and you've made that much money. There are people who can do that much money in one day. But I'm not looking at those who are doing it in one day. I'm asking you if you can do that. Whether you can do blogging, you can teach people how to set up blogs, you can teach people how to design websites, you can teach people how to play music. There's a guy who has a website called hearandplay.com. He teaches people how to hear a song and play it on the piano. That's all he focuses on. The challenge that most people face is how to establish themselves and to position themselves as a business. When I first started tutoring, I was tutoring as an individual. I had a bunch of clients paying me $15 an hour, and it wasn't covering anything. I would drive to somebody's house, drive to another person's house, and then one day somebody said, Nigel, my child got 2130 on their SAT scores. You can charge far more than that. That's when it dawned on me, I literally could. I took the same program, I packaged it a little better, I professionalized my material, I developed a business look and feel of my collateral, and voila, I started immediately charging $50 an hour. From $30 an hour or $15 an hour to $50 an hour.
Remember when one lady
Who I was charging $15 an hour brought her cousin to me. My schedule at that time was crazy. I was driving at people's house. I would drive from Potomac to Bethesda, from Bethesda to Northern Virginia, from Northern Virginia to Gettysburg, from Gettysburg to Columbia, Maryland. And I was doing that on a daily basis. And I was feeling burnt out. But I was also looking at the wear and tear on my car. After I stopped all of that madness and I set up a little space, I was paying $350 per month for a little space that I had a desk. It looked professional and clean. You came in an office compound, you park on the front, and you I was behind. I subleased office in a real estate company's. It was one of their virtual offices. So I sat over there. People come to the front. They stop at the front desk and they ask the professional question. I immediately move my figures from $30 an hour to $50 an hour overnight. At that time, I started charging clients $400 a month. After my first four clients, I really understood the importance of positioning yourself. I also had to learn how to identify the right client. Everybody is not a fit for your business. Everybody is not a client for you. There are days when I am on Facebook and I'm talking how great my students perform. I don't sell to a single soul on Facebook. I have not tried to convert anybody on Facebook into a client. I just provide information on Facebook just to say what I do. If I wanted to target clients using Facebook, I know different methods I could use. And I wouldn't target friends. I would not. It's not a case where I am being biased, but when you're positioning yourself as a business, you want it to be able to gain that level of respect and that consistency. Are people going to come in, they're going to water down your business, and you're going to end up with what we call bad clients. I don't hang in with bad clients. I've come to learn that there are people who would come, sap up all of your energy, use up all of your time, and leave you high and dry. That's not the kind of business I wanted to show you how to do. I want you to develop a business in which you identify the right clients and automate that over and over again. You could move from 2 clients to 15 clients to 30 clients to 60 clients. At the height of my business, the 2 locations, we have a little over 80 students. Think of that for a month where every student is paying you almost $400. Can you do that consistently? Can you develop a system that works for you? If you can do that, I'll be more than happy to hold your hand and walk you through how to do that for yourself. You might not need to work with 80 students. You might just want to work with 10 people. Just 10 people, I would give you my system, how you can implement it. I can show you exactly how you can do it like me or even better. I know I'm not the best at what I do, but I try to do the best I could. I focus aggressively on results. And if you don't have results, there's nothing else you can measure. Results don't lie. It tells the difference between those who wish for it and those who do it. And I would show you how to produce consistent automated results each and every month. We do that at both of my locations. And I can tell you, it's something that works like a charm once implemented rightly. So go below this video, sign up your name and your information, and I'll be more than happy to show you how you too can do this. Thank you.